I'm going to jump in here, guys. We're going live on Facebook, and let's go on and get started. And I'm Alan McNabb here with Image Building Media, and we're teamed up today with Jorge Vasquez with Greystone Investment Group. And really an awesome thing, Jorge is surveyed, I guess, around 40 agents. And I've got some really interesting information. I've got agents are doing a great job. I mean, you know, they're closing multiple properties a month. I mean, it's just really super good. And Jorge, as we get started, I think now this survey was not so much on the investment real estate side. Was it more residential real estate? Why don't you explain that a little bit as you introduce yourself?
Awesome, guys. My name is Jorge Vasquez, CEO and broker, licensed broker for Greystone Investment Group. How you guys doing? Hope you guys doing well. Can you guys see me and hear me okay, first of all?
Yeah, doing good.
Yes. Okay. I do not see anyone. Okay. No, perfect. All right. So yeah, you asked me a question, Alan. The survey really was in regards to online marketing more than anything else, right? I wanted to know because we're constantly pushing agents saying, hey, put your properties online, put your properties online. That's really one of the topics that we hear all the time. And I wanted to survey them and to make sure that what they're doing is working. So a lot of the information we're going to get today is in regards to that, online marketing.
And Jorge, if I can interject there, of course, I've already seen the responses. Some great responses, great information, but this is applicable for every industry. There's going to be a certain few little things that, I mean, quite honestly, it's going to be applicable for probably like 90% plus for every industry. And then some other industries, some of it will be applicable to those who are selling, you know, a product, whether it be e-commerce, whether it be real estate, whether it be automobiles or RVs, whatever it is. And so this information is valuable for everybody, no matter their industry, if they're interested in using internet marketing to get customers and to get sales.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Alan, let's jump on it. So we surveyed 35 agents and we asked questions about what's working for them, okay? And most of the answers that I got is that anytime that you specialize on a niche, right? Because there's so many people doing the same thing you're doing, right? So you gotta be creative. You gotta think out of the box to come up with a niche or something that's gonna make you stand out. Does that make sense, Alan?
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, that's one thing you've got to worry about. If you're doing too many things, it's too hard for people to understand what you're doing. So if you can have a niche that you're working in, and even if you've got a business with a lot of things you're doing, well, you should have some niche marketing tools for your verticals. So if you can specialize in a niche, you're far ahead of the game.
All right, so let's talk about actual data that we get. So out of all the agents that we survey, they're telling us that when they post properties online or do any type of marketing online, the ones that are very successful, Alan, they're seeing a conversion rate of 3 to 5%, right? So the good news is that they are converting 3 to 5 new clients a month. The bad news is that it takes 100 people to reach out to you to convert those 3 to 5 clients a month. So that is the problem. We know it's a problem, but it's at the same time, it tells you what you need to do, the type of business plan you need to do. You got to find a way of reaching out to 100 people if you want to have 5 closings that month. If you want to have 10 closings that month, you need to reach out to 200 people. And this is the results that you're getting from 35 agents that are doing these things, right? And how do you do that? Well, of course, you do that with automation. You do that with Sendable. You do that with the different applications that we have out there. So that's pretty much, that's a good number to know, because a lot of times what happens, Alan, is that agents quit right in the middle of it. They'll get 20 replies. No, I'm not interested, not interested. Some of them get to 50, I'm not interested. And right when you're gonna get your first lead, you quit because you give up on it.
Yep.
But if you stay consistent, and if you know that these are the numbers, it's all about being consistent, you know?
That's right. And just to qualify or expand on that, so you get 100 leads. So you're contacting, you've got to contact, a certain amount of people to get 100 leads. And then of those 100 leads, you've got a 2 to 5% closing rate. And Jorge, quite honestly, when I saw that, I mean, that is amazing conversion rate.
All right. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, that's an amazing conversion rate. And these are coming in, from what I could understand, Jorge, through organic marketing, which means they're not paying for advertising.
Absolutely.
And we know that the organic leads are better leads and the conversion rate is better. But you know what? You got to work harder, because it's one thing to pay for some ads. What do? You pay money. But to actually do the work to get the organic leads and to have a conversion rate of 2 to 5%, I mean, there's people paying many thousands of dollars a month for that. And if you'll put in the work that it takes, so you've got the automation, you've got the few tools, and we've talked about that, but that conversion rate is crazy good, man. That is awesome.
Absolutely, Alan. So the next question that the agents are going to ask me is, how do we get in front of 100 people? That doesn't seem realistic. Or how do I get that? And that's when we talked about having a niche product, a product that is hot, something that is going to bring people's attention. Think of a product that could bring you a lot of traffic, a product that is sexy. And what is the product that, and I could ask all of my agents that are here in this meeting, what is the one product that if you put out there in social media, you'll get hundreds and hundreds of inquiries?
Off-market deals.
Off-market deals, that's one. But there's one in particular that people overlook all the time, where you get even more than off-market deals. You know which one it is? Rentals. Rentals. So, John, most agents tell me, Marcos, when I interview Marcos, you put a rental and you're going to get 200 inquiries in a day. It's possible, right? So how do you take a product like that? Because now you have the volume, right? So we know that the conversion rate is 3 to 5%. So what do you do with something like that, a rental? Well, Jorge, I can't do nothing with tenants. I want to buy properties. I want to sell properties. So what do you do with rentals? Find a way to make those tenants become buyers. Is it a credit situation? Is it a job situation? What is it? Try to solve the problem of that tenant. That's just one example. Off-market deals, like John said, also is a great way of bringing a lot of traffic. Why is an off-market deal such a good way of bringing a lot of people, a great door opener? It's because if the person hasn't seen the property on the MLS, they're very intrigued. Okay, where did that property come from? It must be a really good deal. So these are some of the door openers that I'm saying to you that you could put online, get the traffic you need, understand the conversion, figure out how to make that conversion work to you towards your goals, whether it's eventually finding investor buyers or finding buyers, retail buyers for your properties. But look for things that are not as obvious, because if you do what everybody else is doing, then you're not gonna stand out, I have one more that is really good as well. And am I still here?
Yeah, you're here.
Oh, okay. Another one that is really good as well is Airbnb and corporate rentals. Let me tell you something, guys. Anytime that Nadia says anything about corporate rentals where you could double your rents, triple your rents, it's insane. I mean, I'll get 3 hits in my video. I'll send a video to the database to 17,000 people. I get 3 people to reply to me. I do a video with Nadia talking about corporate rentals, and she'll get 200 emails back. So, and by the way, you know, the funny thing is, only a small percentage would actually do it. And a whole bunch of other people, you know, a big percentage will just do regular real estate. Like Nadia will say, okay, I got 2 people out of the email that actually want to do corporate rentals, but I got 2 buyers, I got 3 investors, I got 3 sellers. So this corporate rentals, what I'm trying to say to you guys, is another door opener. One, because it's sexy, something new. One, because there's not a lot of people doing it. And third, because it's something that it could yield more cash. So they're intrigued, they want to know about this. So to summarize what I said so far, you need to be consistent. We know that you need at least 100 leads to convert at least 3 to 5%. But how do you get those 100 leads? You have to have a sexy product. You have to have something that is very interesting now. And you know that Airbnb corporate rentals is one of those rentals in general as well, Alan.
Yep, that is right.
So how do we get, can I share my screen with everyone? Can you
let me double check here just to make sure I've got permissions there, okay?
So while you do that,
yes, you can. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Alan. So let me get to my notes real quick. So like I said, we talked about what is working for agents. Most agents that are very successful with this. I could give you an example of Marcos. He was getting probably 4 to 5 checks a week, but he had a system, right? And he was reaching out to like 100 people a day, utilizing rentals. But his ultimate goal wasn't to rent more properties, was to see, okay, I got somebody on the phone, can I convert them as a buyer? So that's very easy. So, you need that type of traffic. You need a product that is sexy, right? Because what happens with some agents is that they'll post a property in social media and put, check out 1515 Jean Circle, Tampa, Florida. People see those all the time. That's not going to be attractive. That's not going to bring a lot of people. So you got to do things outside of the box to bring those leads. And now, what are the tools that you use to get those conversions? Okay. And I'm going to show you what they are. Very simple. Can you guys see my screen?
Sure can, yes.
Okay. This has been in your face the whole time. It is free. And I do not understand, because I'm like a preacher. I'm preaching this in a weekly basis. I get why people, I see agents being very successful with this, but I see all the agents that do not see the potential of this. And I don't understand why. But Facebook Marketplace is a big example of where you could take, for instance, 119. And guys, the funny thing is that I posted this property just as an example. As I was training an agent, this is how you do it. Because I don't compete with agents, I don't do any transactions. But I did this as an example, very fast. And look, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people interested. That's 5 people that are interested that could potentially be your client today. And guess what? If that person doesn't become your client today, who cares? Collect their email, build your database. And the fact of the matter is, maybe they'll become a client 6 months from now, a year from now. As long as you stay in front of them through some sort of newsletter or email campaign. I've always tell the agents, you either selling or collecting emails. Collecting emails is as important as selling properties, because the more people that you have in your pool, the easier it's going to be to sell any type of product that you want to sell later. But this is an example of, here's one where it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I literally, guys, I just placed one picture, I copy and paste the MLS description, and I got 5 potential buyers there. Here's another listing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people asking me about this. And the list goes on and on and on. So marketplace is a no-brainer. So that's one of the tools that you guys got to start using religiously. And the fact that at least in Greystone, you have any given month 30 to 40 properties to market, this is a no-brainer. You should be putting one property a day here all the time. So that's a Facebook Marketplace. Let's talk about another one that some people don't think about, which is OfferUp. Because people don't think, okay, there's not a section for real estate, therefore I can add real estate deals. Well, that's not true. You know, I could click here and show you. Let me show you real quick. But here's all the leads that I've gotten through. This is just this one property. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have probably 20 leads there. So if you look at just the 2 postings that I've done, in between both of them, collectively have about 50. So you're 50% of your goal of having 100 people to reach out to you to convert those 3 or 4 people that you need to convert in a daily basis and a weekly basis. It depends how strong you go with your marketing. But this is a perfect example too. And this is even funnier, Alan, because typically with OfferUp, you have to do it on your phone. So typically I just take the MLS listing, take a picture of the actual screen, put a couple of words, and boom, I get a ton of leads. But you know what's even funnier than that people don't think about? What if you put apps like OfferUp? How many of those are out there? LetGo, TradeMate. So guys, if you take your time to go into, finding out the top 10 apps like OfferUp, how many places can you actually let go, choose 5, recycle? How hard could it be really to get those 100 people to interact with you so you could close those 3 to 5 leads? Alan, what do you think about that?
Yeah, Jorge, I tell you what, something we've talked about recently, and I think it would be good to go over here because you got all these leads coming in, and that's great. Now they're not all going to buy this property, but as you mentioned, you want to get those into your database so that you can be marketing to them all the properties that you've got coming up. So let's talk about some techniques as far as, getting those people into your database that you've got all these leads and they're saying, oh, is this property still available? Or they're asking something about it. What do you do to get them into your database? How about we talk about that for a second?
Absolutely. Once again, you got to talk about attractive stuff. You got to talk about things that are cool, that are on fashion in a way. You have to talk about things. So what could be cooler than private lending? What could be cooler than telling people, hey, listen, you don't like this property, that's fine, but we could offer you private lending. Or do you know that we could offer your property without any down payment? How's that? Well, we could do seller financing. We could do a lease option. We could do a sandwich lease. It's all about giving them options, and it's funny because never judge the book by its cover. I could tell you that I've made a lot of money from people that look, just gonna be honest with you, from the beginning broke. And you're like, okay, this person cannot do anything. So this person is wanting to rent one of my studios for $600. I don't want to bother with them. But then you find out he's a medical student towards the end of his education, and then the next year he makes a lot of money, and he reaches out to you for a $500,000 home. You know, so always, and this comes with, of course, knowledge, Alan. You know, knowing all the different options that you could offer clients. But to your point, it's all about having something attractive enough to get that person to contact you, to get that person to give you the email. So what I typically do is I create a template and I will say, thank you for inquiring about this rental. Do you know that we have converted X amount of tenants into buyers? Would you like to know how? Well, that's very attractive. Heck yeah, I would like to know how. Click here, and then you could, as easy as putting like the Calendly link or creating a landing page with you. But it's all about thinking outside of the box, guys. So that's how you get some of the people to start clicking and providing you that information you need.
Yeah, you know, I would think that you've got all those leads there. You've got the 20 leads, and just on the one property that you posted, and maybe that property sold, and you go back through those leads and you say, hey, this property sold, appreciate you asking about it. If you want, just, you know, go to my whatever landing page it is and, you know, give me your information. I'll keep you up to date so that you can be first in line to get the next property that you might like, just something like that. So, I mean, if you can collect an extra 10 or 20 or 30, you know, leads into your database every week, and then that turns into 350, 360 a year. I mean, that's going to really be growing your database with people that are really looking for, you know, to buy a house.
Absolutely, absolutely. So is that a lot of agents just think about today and maybe they'll think about tomorrow, but when I say tomorrow, Friday, but they don't think beyond that. You know, one of the reasons why, if I could share my screen again.
Yeah, go for it.
I could show you that I made it my own personal goal since I remember for the past 15 years, make that my most important goal to add at least one email a day to my database. Because I figured that no matter what happens, and by the way, I went through 2008 and it was crazy. One of the reasons why I was able to get back up and get back into business is because I had a database. So I had a pool of people that are following me, people that are getting my newsletter. And then at that moment, I said, okay, guys, let's buy non-performing notes. Let's do this. Let's do short sales. So as you are collecting, you know, let's say Monday, you start going through this exercise. I listen to Jorge, I'm pumped. I need to get 100 people to reach out to me. I'm going to convert 3. You're going to convert those 3 and you're going to work with those 3 today. And the other 97, you're going to try to get their email. So that way, those are the people that you're cultivating for the future. And it's like a snowball effect, right? So maybe the next month, you only need to convert 2 because 3 came from your newsletter. So it's very, very important. This is an example of all the emails that we have. I'm going to put myself, I'm going to risk it here. I want to see if I have any contacts that actually joined today. And today is the 6th. So let's see. I'm looking at it at the same time you are. Let's see if we had any new contacts today. And we had 1 contact today, 2, 3, 4 new contacts today that subscribe to my database. You guys see it? 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's not rocket science what I'm doing, guys, but you gotta be persistent. What am I doing? Utilizing 5 landing pages that I have with Alan. I'm posting Calendly links all over the place. I'm a fisherman. I am fishing all over the place. So if I'm not selling, I'm fishing. That makes sense, Alan? Any questions? Yeah.
Hey, man, let me tell you what. I hope everybody saw that interaction rate of 36% right underneath the number of contacts that you have. Man, that is crazy, crazy 36% interaction rate. But that's what it's about. It's about, it's about connecting with people, getting them in your database, interacting with them, and maybe somebody doesn't interact with you for years. I mean, that's what I do. I subscribe to companies' database where, I think I might need their product one day. And it might be 5 years later. And I've been getting their email once a month for 5 years. And the reason I do that is because I think one day I'm going to need that product and I'll know where to go get it. So don't worry if you're not hearing from people. I mean, just keep going and keep building that database. And it's for every business, the most important thing, a lot of people don't believe this. Most important thing you can have is that database. We used to call it a Rolodex in the old days, right? Rolodex. But to have that database and the one with the largest, best database generally is going to win, because that's the way it works. So get them in there, get them in your database, be sending out the emails, taking them to a landing page, interacting with them. And a good percentage of those are going to turn into your customers.
Absolutely, Alan. At the end of the day, it takes persistency. The tools are there. There's a lot of free tools out there where you could drive those emails in. It's all about standing out. How do you stand out, right? Houses are boring in general. Posting an address with a virtual tour is not as exciting as it used to be when they first came out. There's a million people posting properties all over the place. Think about what's different. What do you do different, right? Aside of social media, I'm thinking, private lending or a specific niche. Or today I'm going to talk to BA people, veterans. Or tomorrow I'm going to talk, be more exciting when you're posting things. Think of products that it could be even, you might not be an expert on. Alan could be the expert on it. But you say, hey guys, if you're a real estate market investor, want to learn how to use your database better, contact me. Guess what? I'm grabbing that that email with really Alan's effort, really, right? Because I'm not a professional, but I'm still grabbing the email and I still know that he's an investor. So remember, guys, it's all about numbers based on the survey that I did. 2 agents at Greystone out of 100 people that reached back to them, they're converting 3 to 5 people. It's very important that you don't give up, but it's very important that you create a process too. This is what happens to Alan. They start talking to person number 34. They reach out to person 50. They get a little overwhelmed. They get frustrated because they haven't closed anything. And they don't know the next person was going to be the person that was going to say yes. But how do you do it? Well, create a system. Have a copy paste. Boom. Same message. I'm glad that you're interested. The property's gone. Do you know that? Are you interested in any of the following? Ping, 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 ping. Create a system. You'll be surprised. Also, collecting emails. Make it as important as anything else. I got a couple of other tips, Alan, if you don't mind.
Go for it, please. Yes.
All right. So, guys, do you know that in Facebook, you could belong to as many groups as you want to? Okay. So you could go to, there's buyer groups, realtor groups, investor groups, corporate rental groups, Airbnb groups, all kinds of groups, any groups. They're there for you. They're free. You can post whatever you want as long as you follow the rules and guidelines. And they're there, man. I mean, they're a bulletin board. Think about this. Think about if you have the chance of going to every business and they would say to you, yeah, post your business card in my bulletin board. How many of us didn't do that back in the days? Now you could do it for free. You could do it in a minute, and post it in, if 500 groups if you want. If you have the right technology, Alan could do it with a click of a button. But groups, and it could be very as simple as, it's amazing, Alan, because I've seen it as simple as, leave me your email if you're interested for getting off market deals. And I've seen guys that all of a sudden you see, wow, a trail of 20 emails.
Yeah,
It could
absolutely.
be as simple as that. You could be a little more sophisticated with your post. Try that. If that doesn't work, tone it down a little bit, make it very basic, make it stupid in a way, make it attract. Try different types of strategies for different types of groups. But it's just like fishing. You put in the different bait, different things until you start catching the fish that you want. But once again, getting those emails are what have made me as successful as I am right now.
Yeah, Jorge, with the groups, and, we talked about this in greater detail in some previous webinars, but, you can easily get in front of a few million people in 30 minutes or 40 minutes and, just get a routine, once a week, get out there, do that, couple of times a week, get out there and do that. And you will build your database, especially if you're giving them something valuable. And of course you want to bring them to your website every time. They're going to consume that content. And after they do that for a few times, then they're going to sign up for your newsletter. They're going to sign up for, maybe you've got an event going on. Maybe you've got a webinar going on. They're going to start signing up for those things, and you're going to build your database. But, there's millions of people in these groups. And they're going to websites, they're entering into databases and all of that. So, and Jorge, that's one of the biggest ways you built your database. That's one of the biggest ways right there.
Absolutely. And I noticed that an agent just asked a question, which is a very cool question. Lilia, if you don't mind me answer that, Alan, real quick. One of the things that, to your point, and when they're doing social media and all of these things, one of the things that agents think that just by posting things on their page, that's it, that they're going to get leads out of the page, The page is almost the last thing that you should be looking at. Give me a second, guys. Hold on. I got somebody testing me a million times. All right. So, yeah, the actual, out of everything you do, the business page in Facebook is the one that's seen the least, to my point. If you're not doing marketplace, if you're not taking your postings in your page and resharing them to your own personal profile or sharing them in groups, don't worry about it. Nobody's seen those. Really, nobody's seen those. So do not rely on, like us as a company, we post in behalf of the agents, and we post on their pages, and we do all of this for free, and we syndicate valuable content. But if you don't do anything with that, if you don't repost it or comment on it, this is a big one, Alan, big one. I've seen my conversion rate be a lot higher. I've seen my views go up exponentially. Is when you're interacting on those posts, because if somebody likes something you post, thank them. What do you like about the article? Tell me more about it. You'd be surprised how that becomes a multiplier. All of a sudden there's somebody else jumping. But if you just have your business page and people are liking your stuff, you're not commenting, you're not reposting, you're not adding people, in reality, your page is not going to do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and let me comment on that a little bit, Jorge. If every person, each business person could just, set aside a little time every day to work social media, Facebook, it's been probably over a year or so now, they changed their algorithm And basically so that they sell more ads, I think, more than anything else.
Right.
So that they're not going to show your business post to hardly anybody on your business page. Now, if
Exactly.
you get some interaction, that's what they really want. So if you've got a business page and you're getting interaction, then those posts that you're getting interaction on, they're going to show more. But what are they pushing right now? You know, they spent many millions of dollars to get celebrities to do Facebook Live videos, and LinkedIn has come out with videos too. Everybody can't do it yet. It's just limited right now. So if you're doing live videos, you're going to see your the people who are seeing your posts go sky high. You're going to see people following you. That's going to continue to increase. And the other thing is groups. For whatever reason, Facebook decided that groups, that is the way to go. That and live video. So the things that's on your page, interact, that's going to help. Do live videos and share that to your personal Facebook and share that, get that into the groups. That's the way to go with it. That's the way you play the game.
I totally agree with you. So to summarize what we said today, what's working for agents, what is really working for agents is being consistent online, okay? Finding a product that brings a lot of traffic to them, even if it's not their ideal product, like a rental, right? Could be a studio. You're renting a $300 studio and you're like, how could that help me? You're going to bring traffic. You're going to get people in front of you. If those people can buy, maybe their neighbor could buy, their brother could buy, their uncle could buy, but you're getting traffic to you. Convert that freaking traffic, for God's sake. You know, you're having people walking in your door. So don't post things that are convenient to you. Post things that will allow you to bring that traffic. Traffic, however you could get it, it's traffic. Then it's your job to understand the ins and outs of real estate and be able to upsell everything and anything that you could think of. So that's my challenge to you. Stay persistent, consistent, make sure you market properties online, find products that are going to bring traffic to you. Like Alan said, do not rely on the page. Guys, do not rely on your Facebook page. Facebook page is just there. It's a tool, but if you don't do anything with it, start interacting with your postings. Say, ask people, what is that you like about my ad? And you're gonna start seeing more results. Like Alan said, the groups are very important. There's a ton of groups out there. And why we are so obsessed with social media is because you can fight it however you want. You can start, it's still, you know, knock on every door you want, but ultimately you can't get away from the future. You cannot get away from technology. It is inevitable. So don't fight it anymore. Just go with it. And, you know, do the tips that we're telling you. It's working for agents. We interviewed 35 agents, surveyed 35 agents, and a lot of them that are doing it consistently are closing leads. So hope this helps you guys. That's all I got.
All right. Yeah. Build the database, be out there, do your social media, get them to your website, collect those leads. And let's talk about that conversion rate. You know, 2 to 5% of leads, you know, 2% is really good. If you can get above 2%, you're doing great. Now you got to be out in front of a lot of people to get that many leads to convert. But, you know, the things we talked about today, absolutely 100% you can do that. So that's been really awesome. Jorge, anything else here before we close down, or any questions we have from the people attending or watching on Facebook?
So I'm going to ask guys, Vanessa, Eliane, Beth, Johnny, anybody has any questions while they ask the questions? Lisa, once again, find your niche online, start posting things that are cool, you know, look at, you know, especially if you have a brokerage, be selective. What am I going to post today? There's 30 properties, but one of them happens to be a I don't know, something funky, Ybor City property or a condo in downtown, and these two are the most unique out of the 30, I will focus on that, right? You want to try to do things that are outside of the box. Try that. Stay persistent. Okay, we have a question. Facebook is the preferred social media for real estate. That is a really good question. Let me tell you how I would explain this to you. For retail, it is. For investing, LinkedIn is. Why? Because invest in LinkedIn, you have every company CEO, every company owner, and people with money. And people don't understand this, but LinkedIn is actually your resume online. So that's why it's so important to have those resumes updated. But I couldn't tell you how much money I've made in LinkedIn by contacting people, CEOs of companies, business owners, what are you doing nowadays? And by the way, people say, so how do you start? How do you start talking to people online? Just start and network. How's your day? How's the COVID? Anybody has been affected in your family? Start. It's just no difference than networking in a group. The difference is that you can pick who you network with instead of going in a group with 50 people and finding out that after you bought a drink to this person and spent 15 minutes with them, they do exactly the same thing you do. You're like, oh man, cheers. Here you can network with people and make connections. If you're sincere at the beginning, you're gonna build that rapport and start doing business. So for investing, LinkedIn is way better. By the way, be careful when you're joining groups in LinkedIn because you're only allowed to join 40. That's it, 40. And the groups are very sensitive to junk. If you start posting junk, they'll kick you out. But that means that they're much better usually than Facebook. They're more proactive in the LinkedIn groups. Facebook is more for retail. Once again, the Facebook pages are not that great if you don't do anything with them. They're just a tool. Groups are very good, but ultimately Marketplace is the baby. Marketplace, just utilizing Marketplace. I hope that answers the question.
Hey, Jorge, really quick. I see we have Vanessa with us, and she was one of the respondents there. And she talked about getting a couple of leads from Realtor. I didn't know if that was Realtor.com, and then a couple in from the office. And I think those are really important things because there's a lot of websites to be on, Realtor.com, Zillow, et cetera, like that, besides the Greystone websites. And you're definitely going to get leads. You're going to get your reviews, super important with that. And also to have your personal persona out there with your website, your social media. Even if somebody walks into the office or calls the office, they're probably going to check you out online either way. So you got to have your, professional persona online so that when they check you out or they Google your name, you come up on Realtor.com, Zillow.com, Greystone.com, your own website, your own social media, and things like that. So I thought that was a really good input also.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you brought up a good point. Anything you do online is public. So make sure that you keep it as professional as possible.
That's right.
Very, very, very important. I don't have
100%.
anything else, Alan, unless you have anything else.
Hey, I think that's it. I think we should go on and wrap up there, Jorge. And I think we've had a great training webinar. It's interesting to me because these things across the board, just pretty much every industry, a little bit would be different. For example, like in my line of work, you're really not going to post on Marketplace, but a few people try doing that. But if you're selling a product, absolutely, 100%. And I can't help but think about, one of the guys I watch on television, he rebuilds cars and sells them. He spends time every day searching on the internet to find the next car to buy. And I mean, you just got to, that's just got to be part of the life if you're going to do something like this. All right, Jorge, go ahead.
The last thing I want to say, there's so many free online classified websites now. Let
Yeah.
it go, offer of, buy this from me, X, Y, and Z. They're free. They're free, even if they get one. I mean, I wish I had this in the early 2000s, man, where
Yeah.
you actually have people replying to these things where I could post all over the place. And you could even go to classifieds from other countries if you want to get really creative. But be consistent, get to 100 people, convert three. Once you get to 100 replies, let me know what's going on. If you're not converting three, let's look at the technique. Let's see what you're doing to get you to that point to at least convert 3 to 5. Thank you for your time. Once again, this is Jorge with Greystone. You invest, we do the rest. And
Alan McNabb with Image Building Media, internet marketing for proven results. We appreciate y'all being with us, and we'll send out messages when we do this again, probably in 2 weeks with our next topic. See ya later. Thanks for being here with us today.